everybody. This is Siddhant from DG3, and if you have been up and about keeping track of what all has been happening in Blast Bounty Season 2, I think you know there's a lot that we need to catch up on. We had last recapped day one's events and what happened and whatnot. Since then, I think day two and day three have been a pretty big contrast in terms of the kind of upsets that we've seen. Day one was pretty standard. Team Nemesis took a spread against Astralis. It went 1-2 in Astralis' favor. The rest of the three games were a 0-2 sweep. So, pretty standard stuff, run of the mill, what you would expect in Tier 1 CS. But days 2 and 3 is where it actually got very interesting, and that is what I want to cover. Unfortunately, I was unavailable, so I couldn't really talk about the events that we witnessed yesterday. And yes, Falcons being eliminated, and the single biggest bounty of this tournament yet, $60,000, has been claimed, and it has been claimed by 100 Thieves, a team that is actually sort of, is it even within Valve's top 100 teams right now? I'm not too sure, but yeah, I think size is 74 or outside of the top 100, and they've claimed the bounty, which is just insane. So, why don't I do one thing? Let me pull up my screen share and we can go along with this. Cool. So, some of you liked the whole web page layout that I had made for the tournament. So I figured I'll continue that as long as the viewers like it. So do I. So $120,000 paid out to the underdogs. So that is split across three bounties. So the $60,000 bounty on Falcons has been claimed by us, 100 Thieves, and 30,000 each claimed by Hodu. They swept Gamer Legion 0-2, and Focus eliminated Aurora 2-1. So that is another shocker that we're obviously going to cover. But yes, apart from these three bounties, nothing has been collected yet. So quick recap on day two. Eyeballers lost 0-2 to face, and I think it was expected. FaZe has started to find their footing. They've remembered their legacy as a tier one organization, and that kind of reflected in the matchup. If you look up the HLTV stats, so the top fragger across the entire server sadly was Youngstar, who is a stand-in for Eyeballers. So he just came to play for this tournament, or rather this match, since it's a single elimination. And he just hopped on the server, outfragged everybody, left, no questions asked. So, but yeah, if you go through Youngstar's Twitter, he is also kind of on the lookout to for more opportunities to play Tier 1 CS. And I think if he can put up these kind of numbers against FaZe, sure thing. I mean, I don't see why many teams would want to pass up on a young star, literally. But yes, Eyeballers got wiped 2-0. So JW's whole I want to take revenge for excessive pro league agenda kind of fell flat on his face. 26 kills across two maps. So not much done by him. Crims, on the other hand, managed to sort of pull his weight across both maps. So a 34 bomb across two maps that you've lost is kind of respectable. Let's see if that actually holds up on a map level. True. So it's an actual exact split between two maps, 17 each. And for that, I think credit to Crims. I have graduated high school, I have graduated college, and I have changed jobs. Still, it's literally my job to talk about esports, and Krims has been playing through all of that. So, and he has also been playing in all Swedish lineups for the most part. There may have been one or two changes here and there, but Fnatic, and then there was Eyeballer. So, Krim's consistency is sort of unparalleled if you think about it, and he's still putting up numbers. So yeah, I mean props to Crims, but yeah, Eyeballers' revenge agenda did not go as they would have expected or wanted it to. Next up, we have G2 Nemiga. So this one finished 2-1, and Nemiga took the first map. And I think I mentioned this in the previous streams also. It is just proper G2 behavior to not win in convincing fashion when you should, just because the organization is G2. They've done that with Nico and Monesi in the team as well, and they're doing it without them in the team as well. So I'm not exactly surprised. And if you look at the two maps that they actually won, 13-8, 13-8, standard stuff, commanding 5 round lead by the time you won the match. So they still mean business. It's just that they are mean when they're in business. So the Nemiga win kind of justifies the G2 vibe. So not much I would want to say about this. Hodu versus Gamer Legion though. So this was the first match I think with Flamers back on this, not back per se, but after him joining the squad. So yeah, I mean the new transfer worked as expected. Rez unfortunately had a bit of a mid game. So D2 was still a decent performance from his end, but if you look at Ancient, it's just disappointing. I mean, Snacks you expect. Snacks is like the same era as Crims, and from his Big Apple and Snacks' Hungry days, he's sort of stepped down to a more of an IGL sort of a role. So he gets a bit of a Carrigan pass to, not frag as much and get away with a fight. But for the rest of the team, Rez, I keep voicing the same concern that he's spent or rather wasted his core years with an NIP that didn't appreciate him, or even if they did, they had no idea what to do with him, how to build around him. So we saw a lot of makeshift rosters, and I had hopes with Gamer Legion as an organization when they made it to the major finals with EMA and lost to Vitality, which was expected. But for Gamer Legion to make it to the major finals was something that I found cool. So I stuck around like a footnote with me that this organization is a major finalist. So amongst the Hotus, the Hocus Pocus, this name sticks around because hey, they've made it to the finals. So put some respect on the name type shit. So I have more belief in their management as an organization than I do in the roster at that for the time being. But I am looking forward to Rez actually putting up numbers. But yeah, these aren't exactly the numbers I was looking forward to. But anyway, Gamer Legion lost 2-0 to Hotu. If they would have taken at least one map, I would have been a little more content. But yeah, props to Hotu, and of course, Norbert is making his comeback. It seems. I think they've got a couple of decent wins across EPL or Star Series as well. And of course, this sweep at the Bounty is going to be way above anything else that's happening across the other two tournaments. All right, let's come to the one match that we all wanted to talk about: 100 Thieves beating out Falcons 2-1. And the thing is, in this document, I basically named the team after the one map they've won if it's a 2-1. And the fact is, Falcons managed to beat them 4-13 on Nuke. And then the fact that the one map naming has been given to Falcons here is crazy. And when map 1 finished, it went 13-4. It's Nuke, so one of the top maps that everybody plays. And you're like, yeah, there is no major hangover. There was a break, yes, but these guys are still number one in the game. And 100 Thieves is not it. This is going to be another 2-0 sweep. And here we are, $60,000 bounty claimed. So crazy stuff. Let's pull up the match stats. Let's take a look at it. So one of the few things that I was really looking forward to was rain. And of course, I mentioned the whole Nico and Carrigan history as teammates, and Device, same generation as an opponent. So if I look at the total stats, what I don't understand is it looks like Falcons was the better team on paper. I mean, the top two fraggers have crossed 50 or touched it at least. And on 100 Thieves size, he's just got Rain. And Rain has not been the top fragger on the server for a very long time. You would expect him to have a couple highlight rounds every now and then. Deagle Eco's solid CT sided anchors where he's just holding out till the rotate comes in or manages to, stop a rush on sides. But top fragging behavior out of Rain, if you saw it on phase in the last 2 or 3 years, it generally meant that Face Clan have lost, and it just happened to go Rain's way as a match. But yeah, that's about it. But here, 100 Thieves device fragging out on sort of equal terms. Let's take a look at map wise scores. Okay, so map 1 went 13-4. So, yeah, not a lot of rounds that they won. So, did not expect a lot of frags out of them. Thus, to how close was this to 13-7? So, not very. So, Alex Poi pulling up his fair share of weight. Uh, +8 and +6 round swing percentages across Alex and Howard. So crazy. And yeah, 3% on device also. So there's been a lot of clutching in this map. And I think that's kind of what decided the momentum and kept Falcons to a 7, which is crazy work. But it all in all, I'm just happy to see Rain back in the server. And if you look at the Anubis score, this is a map that went to the end. And first half score was literally 3 for the 100 Thieves. They picked up 10 rounds on T side Anubis. So, I mean, almost as good as Falcons and one better than what they managed to achieve, literally. So yeah, goes on to show how T-sided Anubis is, and yeah, I think Ancient and Anubis are two of the most T-sided maps right now. But pulling off a 10-2 second half against Falcons is not an easy feat for teams that are top 10 HLTV at the moment, let alone for 100 Thieves. So the fact that they pulled it off, and this is a team effort. 14, 15, 16, just three numbers across the entire team's KD. device had a poor map in terms of rating 3.0, and of course it kind of reflects in his round swing percentages as well. But what I can guess off of this is, as an opper, he's probably picking up leftover kills, single bullet, 20 damage, 30 damage. So ADR goes down. He's the opper, so he's probably surviving with it. So the cast has also kind of gone down. That's my assumption, but that's probably why he doesn't have as much impact. But the fact that everybody pulled their own weight across all three maps, so it's Rain at the top, probably it's Alex at the top, and then it's Sira at the top. So they played beautifully, and with a team like this, when you have Device as your primary star and Rain as your second star, and so you got one star on the op, one star on the rifle, and then you can still expect games where everybody is playing evenly, and it actually results in you guys winning against Falcons, who have just won the major, and that team is as stacked as it can be as of now. So it's positive signs. They've already won the bounty that was sitting on top of Falcon's head. But more importantly, I think Tim had mentioned this on X yesterday. This is going to be a huge VRS jump for the team, and that is going to open up a lot of avenues in terms of invites, rankings as well. So the Singapore major grind is actually going to get a pretty big boost with this. You do well, suddenly do well against Falcons, beat them. You get that elo shift because they were that gapped. You won. Now suddenly there are going to be a bunch of events that want to invite you because hey, you just beat the Falcons, but then they also know you're not that good. And I think they've already lost to Nuclear Tigers 2-1 since then. So not even 24 hours, but then that is probably business as usual in CS2. So teams, when they manage to hit peaks like this, even for a very short time, event organizers would want to cash in on this. They want more such hype in the next event. Naturally, there's going to be more points for them to farm by finishing better at more tournaments. And I think they've got till November or December for the Singapore major. So within the next 3 months, whatever events they get, they just have to make sure that they make it to the top 16, at least top 16 or top 8, so that they have a shot at entering the major. So yeah, this is working perfectly fine for that plan. And I mean, congrats, you netted a $60,000 bounty. All right, so that brings us to day three. So match day three started with an upset. I lost my futures position on Aurora. I expected them to at least win their first match so that the future position that I took on Aurora winning this tournament would at least jump from 3 cents to 5, and maybe with 26.5 shares bought, I would have had a shot at something. Don't look at the graph, there is something wrong apart from the fact that it's all red. But yeah, so let me just find that Aurora position real quick. Yeah, cool. So I bought it at 3.8. So yeah, I mean it was 3.8. I managed to get 26 shares. So I expected, hey, these guys will probably win their first match against Focus Focus. The share price will probably jump from 3.8 to 5.8, 6.8. Maybe it doubles to 8, because by the time they play the next match, the number of teams is going to go down from 32 to 16. So if the number of teams have halved and Aurora being Aurora making it to the major playoffs in Cologne literally a month and a half ago, I think they lost to Furia in the semis or quarters rather. So a 3.8 price seemed cheap. It'll jump to maybe 5, 6. So even if it will jump 2 cents at 26.38 shares bought for $1, it would have been half a dollar of profit just for them to win one match. And I think matlab, that would have been a safer position than taking on a money line which they would have lost, a spread which they would have won, but that would have had to be on focus for the plus 1.5, which I'm not sure. The market assumed that they would get swept. Even the model said that this is looking like an under 2.5 maps, which also would have missed. So everything as far as sentiment is concerned was in Aurora's direction and favor, and it just did not look like that. Cash went 13-11, sure. So you could say that Focus managed to beat them to it, and it was as even as it could have been. New, they won in convincing fashion, and D2 they lost in just as convincing fashion. Okay, so somebody has to go that hard at 5 a.m. on the streets. Okay, my bad. And this kind of brings me to another point that I was about to take into account. So, Falcons, Gamer Legion, Aurora, I think these are the biggest upsets and the most costliest as well, yeah. But even G2 losing map 1, and this is something that I'm going to come to. Uh, Sinners had not won a map since May. So it has been 2 months or more than 2 months since, actually almost 3 months, we're on 24th. So for almost 3 months, Sinners did not have a map to the name, not a BO1, not even in a BO3. And today, when my signal said take FUT, map 1 winner at 6 7, Sinners decided we have to play like Prime Astralis, beat FUT 13-6, show them who's boss today, and then promptly went on to lose 13-3 on Ancient and 38 on Mirage as well. So, of course, the one bit where I had money, they had to just remember that they're a tier 1 team. So, thanks, Sinners. Messed up my map winner, and another reminder why you should not trade map winners pre-match, because that is entirely bounty dependent. Let's just see, was it even their map pick? It was their map pick. Cool. But yeah, I mean FUT had was a force to reckon with in this major. So a lot of scrappy rounds and very resilient team in the Cologne major, but that resilience showed up in the later stages. If I had taken a money line, I would have obviously enjoyed that resilience and chaos that the Brazilian squad brings with it. But if only they would have brought it in map 1 as well. But no point talking about ifs and buts. But yeah, coming back to the point, it's a new season of CS, obviously. Blast Bounty is the biggest tournament of the season yet. We've got a state ranked episode that finished, I think, a week or so ago, which Heroic won. We've got the Star Series, Star Ladder, EU qualifiers ongoing. We've got the European Pro League also ongoing. So it's not like the season hadn't started. The season had started, I think, over 2 weeks ago or maybe over a week ago, and we've seen plenty of action since then. But a lot of that action was tier 2, tier 3. This is the first tier one heavy action filled event, so to speak, for lack of a better description. So a lot of these teams have sort of been on break, and as they should. I mean, the major is a grueling event, and you've got the qualifiers before that. You've probably had a couple of boot camps before that. May also had another IEM event. So there's plenty of Intel events that happen during matlab, around a major. So I get that it was a pretty hectic timeline, and of course, you need to have some sort of an off-season routine to make sure your players don't burn out. Which, yes, people might find it weird, but you can burn out from playing video games. Uh, so this is technically the first big tournament after a break. So things like Aurora losing, Falcons losing, Sinners taking a map against a major stage three player of all people, you kind of understand and accept that these things happen from a probability point of view, that the chances are never zero. So yeah, I mean, whoa, I think Polymarket had 7 or 9% for 100 Thieves to win at some point on Nuke. And yeah, I mean, they lost 413, so there was a 7% probability. So whoever picked up money line shares at that point, I salute you. You are a trader, a top tier trader at that. So this kind of variance to be expected after an off season, yes, but there has to be a limit to this variance. I mean, look at G2. They lost the first map. Okay, they won the other two maps. Cool. The same with FUT. They lost the first map and they picked up the other two, and they picked them up convincingly. I mean, a 13-3 win on their own pick is their way of reassuring the casters, the traders, the fans that, we are still us. Don't let that kind of, change things up for you. So that is a degree of variance I'm fine with. But then you're losing two maps in a row. You're letting 100 Thieves reverse sweep you. Really, Falcons, hello, Nico, what doing? That kind of stuff. Aurora losing to focus. That's the kind of alarm bells that ring when you got a futures position or a money line position on Aurora and they're doing this kind of stuff. They lost just to 13-4. I mean, they didn't even put up a fight. I think the half finished at 10-2 or something. They took two rounds somehow, and then that's it. So, as D2, I mean, D2 might not be a strong map, might be a very weak map, might be something you ban. But D2 is as core CS2 as it gets. And all of these pros in the tier 1 scene, they've probably played from the 1.6 or the CS source days. So everybody is aware of Dust 2. So there is no way that you have not scrimmed enough on Dust 2 that you, as a tier 1 team, lose 13-4 to a tier 2 team, or rather tier 3. I mean, these focus, let's take a look at focus. Banjo, first time hearing of him. I mean, no disrespect, he's probably been grinding his work out. ZTR, part of the NIP squad at some point, is what I remember. But it's been a long time since he left the NIP roster and probably had a bunch of roster changes since then. And this is something that I'm talking about from at least 2 or 3 years ago. The rest of the players, I mean, apart from ZTR, there is nobody that I recognize off the top of my head. So this team is not that different from a random face it level 10 scrim lobby that gets set up. This is a team, I mean, okay, they did have Yimfat transfer in. Cool, they had Kixan also transfer in. So they've got two transfers to work with, but I'm pretty sure they had a couple of scrims done before to get a feel. And the rest of the Aurora squad was as is, had been playing for months together, years actually, as if you take into consideration the Eternal Fire timelines as well. So when you're a team that has been playing for months and years together, before Yimfat and Kixan, the entire squad was Turkish, I think. So you were also speaking the same language. So I don't get how you can be this disorganized to the point that you lose 13-4 on a decider map. If you're tired, so is your opponent. So yeah, I mean the Turkish pride took a big hit today, and with it, my positions too. So yeah, get good. Anyway, Pain versus Gentlemates, I don't really have much to talk about it except for the fact that my spread fell flat. And this lobby kind of seems like it's on equal footing. It shouldn't have gone 2-0, it should have gone 2-1, honestly. Because Mopos, Crucial, Alex, and Davy G are all players that I know have been active for at least 5 or 8 years. I mean, they've played Tier 1 CS that long ago, and that's not the strange part. There's a lot of people who've played Tier 1 CS 5 or 8 years ago, and they're still playing that in the scene. The fact is that these people kind of dropped off, dipped to Tier 2, Tier 3 for a bit, and then came back up. So if there's this much variance in the last 5 8 years, you kind of don't expect much out of the team. But on the other hand, Pain Gaming, VSM, Big Azira, Safi, Snow are all on the same boat in that regards. I mean, they've been active. I think all of them have played with Fallen via MIBR or Fury at some point. They've played with Kesarato, but then Fallen, Kesarato, they're at a different tier. They stay there. These guys don't. They keep coming up and down. So you've got the same thing on both sides, basically. One is a Spanish iteration, one is a Brazilian iteration. I guess today we all found out that the Brazilian iteration has more flair for the game, if nothing else. And now finally we have the semi upset of the day. So this is the poster that I put up for the match tonight. And yeah, I mean, DG3 Sports, if you haven't followed us already, join in, follow us. We do a lot of content, and we're not just going to do basic content. Actually, we've done a lot of. Okay, I'm not going to talk too much about my own stuff. So, you guys will just have to join the page, follow it to know what I'm on about. But the more important part was the caption that I had planned for this book. So after this is where the match finished. Let's take a look at the maps. Map 1, 13-4 Falcon script. They won in convincing fashion, except for the fact that Spirit took OG's map pick. But map 2, 13-11, okay, at least they went the distance and didn't just flop out like Falcons did. But map 3 went to overtime. And honestly, I think this is the first time I'm hearing OG play a tier 1 event in the longest time. The last time that I actually remembered OG doing anything noteworthy was during the Alexi B era, when I think Isa was there for some time. NBK was on the squad with Alexi B. So these two, three players and there was the other Nico on the squad at the time. So that is the era that I remember, and that was right after the Ents debacle where they backstabbed Alexi B, and then have been paying for it ever since. So good on the Finnish CS scene for that. But between that era and now, I have no memory of what have they been up to in CS. So when I saw they qualified for Blast Bounty, I was like, okay, they exist. Welcome back. So and then you hear Body, and then you hear KDN, and that's when it struck me. Ki, oh, so this is what KDN is up to. So I think there was a bit of a shuffle. I think from Heroic he probably went to Liquid, and then I just lost trail because Liquid is just get washed program. You join Liquid, you get washed. Shui, I hope you're taking ample care to ensure you're not getting washed. But yeah, congrats on getting free from Team Liquid. Now you can actually play CS where you can hope to win. But yeah, coming back to this, map 1, 13-4 in favor of Spirit. Standard Spirit stuff. Donk and Shiro leading the way, steamrolling on OG. But if you look at D2, okay, so KDN had a master class with, I think, a bunch of clutches. Adam B, toe to toe. Adam B has had a lot of praise. A lot of people have been talking about him. I think he has become a pretty big talking point. And Ancient, all okay. So Ancient, we have 35 maps, and he is sitting on 36 frags. So 110 ADR, but of course it's not enough when you are the only one in the entire team putting up those kind of numbers. But it is nice to see a consistent output, and that too, when I say consistent output, it's against Donk, Shiro, Magics. So that changes things a lot. So yeah, I mean, OG lost. It was the expected result, but 2-1 almost overtime on map 2, which wouldn't have been in their favor, but map 3 definitely went to overtime, and it went to 2 overtime. So yeah, they really made Spirit work for it, and that is not something anybody, including myself, was expecting walking into this match. So I think the caption that I had pre-planned hours in advance was kind of the best call that I made today, because obviously there weren't a lot of good calls. Cool. So that was day 2 and day 3 wrapped up. Let's take a look at the final slate for round of 32 matchups. Cool. So we were 3D Max versus Magic. So Magic is another team that I have very little idea of. But let's see what kind of markets are we looking at. 3D Max plus 1.5. I don't mind. I'll buy it. But if I think about it, am I overpaying for this position? I really feel like I'm overpaying for this position, right? I think I am. There's barely any upside, but let's not think too much into it. I had to flex the DG3 advantage anyway. Let's bring this right up here next to the schedule. Okay, next up we have Heroic versus Mongols. This is going to be a very interesting matchup. Mongols has a new lineup. I think Senzu left, and so has Emzinho. So we have to start following BC game lineups as well. But has it? Is the roster mania that crazy that Heroic is priced above Mongols? That is kind of crazy. So I am assuming the spread would be in Mongols' favor. So that's another 70 cent spread. But yeah, I don't think Heroic have it in them to sweep the Mongols. So I would very well want to take that. Cool. So that's map two. Heroic, I mean, they have the first and only land trophy of the season. So they've kind of won up a lot of teams right now. So understandable on the market sentiment being in their favor. But they're not sweeping Mongols just yet. I mean, they haven't got that good, and Mongols aren't that bad yet. Liquid versus Vitality. Honestly, I would have said the sweep would have any day been an easy pick when it's against Team Liquid, especially after they have had roster changes. But going by how this tournament has gone so far, I would not want to take that up. And on top of that, I don't know. I'm not trusting Team Liquid with my money, and the Vitality money line is going to give me nothing. And honestly, this is a pretty expensive price for a Vitality sweep. I mean, yes, the money lines are at 90 for the series, but 70 cents for them to sweep. I mean, yes, it is Team Liquid, but that is exactly the problem. It is Team Liquid. So I just do not know how to react to that. Do we have any sharps? Oh, we've got two sharps who are trading the Team Liquid spread. Okay. Hmm. What do they know? Okay, if you look at the spread by there's a lot of liquid. Okay, now there's a lot of vitality as well. So my opinion has had zero shifts. Sharps, yes, but I will first have to watch what EU and Skyman 44 have been up to. I will not trust their word just yet because anybody who trades, let alone speaks in favor of Team Liquid, is questionable. I will probably have to have your sharp status reviewed with product, copied it for future reference. Okay, so nothing to see on the liquid versus vitality market. What's the last market do we left? Okay, so Dendele, that is, I think this was Sharks Esports. They recently renamed to Dendele, which means bull or something. Versus Furia. Furia is the other future position that I took, and I really hope they don't tank. This sounds like a famous choice of last words. So I already have a position on this. It's my most profitable position yet. So this will automatically pump if they beat these guys. So I'm not reinvesting in this market. I'm going to leave my last $2 for something my signal can surface and give me decent returns on, and actually hit also. So yeah, I mean, let's see what are the sharps saying on sharp. Somebody bought Fury on the money line. Cool. I mean, what are we making? 18 cents on the dollar, roughly 20%. Not the best margin to risk your money for, but then it's not like it's anything's going to happen. So if I just max out at 2.5, I still make half a dollar on this. So, I mean, yeah, it's free money, but A, is it? And B, not worth it. Then it's the last match of the day. So, right? Yeah. So you can probably come back to it later tomorrow or tonight. Yeah, whatever floats your boat. So yeah, I mean, this is all we have for the last day of the round of 32 matches on Blast. Let's see. We have had two juicy upsets. I think one was a really juicy one. The other one was okay. I mean, you expect the Turks to do some funny stuff every now and then, but Spirit OG looked like it could have been another scary upset. So 2 days in a row, two top five HLTV teams bombing out of Last Bounty in stage one would have been an insane storyline. The press would have probably loved it, but that did not happen. And I think for everybody's sanity, it's good that it did not. So let's just see if what are we looking at? Hmm. A half cent edge is crazy. So yeah, I mean, if you're wondering what this is about, DG3 is obviously built on top of Pori market. So what does that mean for you? So let me just walk you through with an example. Let's see, does Heroic have any other matches apart from? Okay, they have a match against Astralis as well. Cool. So when you're looking at prices here, and if you look at the price here, there is a plus 0.58 cent difference. So that's the edge finder. If you're looking at this market right now, everything is priced all right or fairly priced. There is little to no edge for you to seek in this line here per se. But in this match in Icarus versus Patins da Ferrari, they've managed to pick up a slight edge. So this kind of sits in line with the fact that there is barely 10K liquidity and $140 of volume. So this looks like this is probably put up by one or two big parties. That's AS10, right? So yeah, 52. Correct. So as you can see, this is like put up by one party, not a lot of edge here at the moment because the book isn't filled. And when I say filled, there is not a lot of money and there is not a lot of sensible pricing put up on this board yet. But when it happens to the point that you can see something along 40K, I'm not even saying you need hundreds of thousands of dollars in volume. You just need a five-figure bump up in volume so that you have three, four big parties piling up the order book, and then you start seeing edges like this. So the first agenda with DG3 is you're going to search for markets, and then you're also going to look at edge. So I mentioned an 84-cent money line does not excite me. 70-cent spread also kind of is decent, but it doesn't excite me to that point. So what I'm generally looking for is maybe a 55-cent position that is actually priced 6 cents cheaper. So if this was 60 and this was 40, the Australis money line would have been more convincing for you. So the edge finder is being primed to do is actually give you a better expected value while you're trading. So what happens is this is that classic, if we would have bought that share when it was priced at this, Nvidia was dirt cheap at one point of time. CS2 cases were 30 cents a pop at one point, and now they're going for $100, $10, $20. So instead of having that, story of if I would have held on to this or if I would have bought this at this price, I would have been a gazillionaire today. So Edge Finder is trying to solve that to some extent. I'm not saying it will make you an overnight millionaire. If you're dumb, nothing is going to help you. So Edge Finder basically gives you a margin on expected value of any particular position. So if we come back to this example, so this is priced at 83. It has given it a fair value of 83.6 roughly. So what it means to say is that you're buying it at 83, but you can expect it to hit 83.58 regardless of what happens finally. So that PDAF position can lose. But in the graph, when you see at finality, after you buy it, it will go up to some extent before it may come down to zero or before it resolves to $1. The point is the edge finder gives you a range that this is the value that it will hit at some point, regardless of what happens. So if you are looking at it from a live trading perspective, you buy it at 83, it hits 83.5 or maybe 84. So you, since you are aware it's going to hit 84, you sell it at 84. Now you can buy a million shares and then you can sell them. So you make a million cents in profit, and that is going to be what, $10,000. So $10,000 in profit because you knew this position is going to hit this value at some point of time, and you were just tuned in, locked in, waiting for that position to hit that value. So that's what the edge finder is all about. But yeah, so I think this is going to be the extent of my masterclass for today. Also, by the way, DG3 Hoops, brother page run by my colleague, all things NBA, WNBA. If you like our esports signals, we've got WNBA signals as well. Yes, I know you guys probably don't watch the WNBA unless it's an Angel Reese versus Caitlin Clark matchup, but there's a lot of markets, a lot of edge. I think that is something sharps are already capitalizing on, and there's probably less competition in those playing fields. So definitely check them out. And of course, LeBron James is going to leave the Lakers. His teammates were complaining about the fact that he was involved with his teammate's mother. That's my favorite joke about Bronny and James playing on the same team. But yeah, so there's a lot of hype on which team he's joining next. I think the Heat leaked a video of an announcement of LeBron James joining. So this is why you can suddenly see the Heat has priced so high out of the blue. And I think this market had 3.5 million yesterday. It crossed 250 million today. So I mean, of course, the NBA traders sect is dying to get their hands on decent markets. Kind of crazy they don't have the summer league markets already. They should have at this point, but whatever. So yeah, DG3 Hoops works just like DG3 Esports, except it's for basketball and WNBA. And yeah, I think we've taken a look at tomorrow's matches. I will now take your leave, folks. It's 5:30 a.m. I kind of fell asleep waiting for the Spirit OG match to wrap up. But it did, and I managed to wake up in time for the stream. So, yeah, thanks for tuning in. Hope you guys had a fun time. And yeah, catch you tomorrow after round one concludes.